Welcome back to the Verdict Zone, where we judge the consequences of boundary violations. Today, a man discovers his most intimate secrets are public knowledge, forcing him to choose between trust and dignity. Imagine this, a relationship that feels perfect, a connection so deep you believe you've found your soulmate. The intimacy is incredible, the trust seems unbreakable. But what happens when that trust is shattered in the most public and humiliating way possible? Our story today is about a man who thought he had it all, only to find out his most private moments were the main topic of conversation for his girlfriend's inner circle. This isn't just a minor slip-up, it's a complete betrayal that calls everything into question. How do you recover when your sanctuary becomes a stage for public amusement? Stay with us as we unpack the price of gossip. It all started innocently enough. The couple, both 26 and deeply in love, were out with their friends at a bar. The conversation turned to weddings, a happy topic for a couple who saw a future together. But then, things took a sharp, uncomfortable turn. The protagonist made a lighthearted comment about dildos, a completely random remark. Suddenly, one of his girlfriend's friends chimed in with a smirk, saying, "Oh, I heard you don't mind dildos so much." The entire group erupted in laughter. He froze. The comment was too specific, too personal. It wasn't a random joke. It was aimed directly at him. His mind started racing. How could she possibly know that? There was only one source. A wave of unease washed over him, the laughter of the group echoing in his ears. The happy atmosphere of the bar instantly turned cold and hostile. He tried to brush it off, to pretend it didn't bother him, but the seed of doubt was planted. Later that night, he sent his girlfriend a text message, his fingers trembling slightly as he typed. What was that all about? He needed an explanation, hoping against hope that it was all just a terrible misunderstanding. But deep down, he knew the answer would change everything. Her initial response was dismissive. It was just a joke. "Babe, don't be so sensitive." But he knew better. He pressed her, sensing she was hiding something significant. The casual deflection wasn't going to work this time. The joke was too targeted, too intimate. He needed the full truth. Finally, after he made it clear he wasn't letting it go, the devastating confession came. She admitted she had shared details about their exploits in the bedroom, but how much had she shared? He had to know the full extent of the betrayal. He asked her, his voice tight with a mixture of anger and dread. How much do they know? She told him she would call him back. Those few minutes of waiting felt like an eternity. When the phone rang, the truth she delivered was a catastrophic blow. It wasn't just one or two details. Her best friends knew everything. Every single, explicit detail. From the very beginning of their relationship, she had been giving them a play-by-play. They knew his personal preferences, his stamina, even deeply personal things like his grooming habits and his natural scent. His entire intimate self, the person he only shared with her, had been dissected, analyzed, and turned into locker room gossip for her friends' entertainment. He was no longer a person, he was a character in their weekly show. The sense of violation was absolute. His most vulnerable moments, the foundation of their physical and emotional bond, were now public property. The trust he had placed in her was not just broken, it was completely obliterated. Faced with the enormity of her betrayal, he expected a profound apology, a sign of genuine remorse. What he got instead was a cold, shocking defense. She was only mildly sorry, her apology feeling more like an attempt to smooth things over than a true admission of guilt. Her justification was even worse. "That's just how we talk," she said, as if that made it acceptable. She claimed she knew similarly graphic details about her friends' partners, trying to normalize her behavior. She completely failed to understand, or perhaps refused to acknowledge, his fundamental right to privacy. To her, their sacred intimacy was just another piece of gossip to be traded among friends. For him, this wasn't just a mistake. It was a fundamental disrespect of his dignity and their bond. The conversation escalated into a massive argument. He saw no other way forward. He laid down a clear, non-negotiable ultimatum. "You will stop talking about our private life immediately and completely, or we are done." The finality in his voice made it clear this was not a threat. It was a promise. After a huge fight, filled with tears and accusations, she finally, reluctantly, agreed. But the promise felt hollow. The damage was already done, and the words "that's just how we talk" echoed in his mind, a constant reminder of how little she valued his privacy. Now, in the aftermath, the relationship is a shadow of what it once was. The protagonist has drawn a hard, uncrossable line in the sand. He will no longer hang out with her friends. It's not about being petty or holding a grudge. It's not about fearing another joke at his expense. It's about self-preservation. It's about the profound, gut-wrenching discomfort of sitting in a room with people who possess a detailed inventory of his most intimate self. He can't look at them without imagining their conversations, their laughter. He can't shake the feeling that they see him not as a person, but as a source of cheap entertainment. His girlfriend is upset. She's worried about how it makes her look to her friends, that she can't bring her partner to social gatherings. But frankly, he doesn't care about her social standing. His dignity comes first. The betrayal has had an even deeper impact. He has withdrawn from her, both emotionally and physically. The trust that underpins true intimacy is gone, and without it, the desire has faded. He's still in the relationship, but he's walled off, protecting what's left of his private self. This is the true, devastating cost of her gossip. A once vibrant connection now hangs by a thread, poisoned by a betrayal that may be impossible to forgive. So, where do we go from here? Was the girlfriend's violation of privacy an unforgivable act? Is sharing intimate details with friends just how people talk, or is it a fundamental breach of trust? And is the protagonist justified in refusing all contact with her friends, even if it puts more strain on the relationship he's trying to save? The verdict zone is now open. We need your judgment on this. Is his refusal to see the friends justified, or is he going overboard? Hit that subscribe button and click the link in the description to join the discussion on our forum. Can this relationship ever truly recover when the very foundation of trust has been shattered by gossip? Share your own stories, your own experiences, and cast your decisive verdict. Thanks for watching.